Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for coming. I will share with you the rules how we're going to have this webinar today, and then I will give this opportunity to introduce us to this visa, everything, all of the requirements and everything. So I will let Anna to speak. My name is Evtiugina. I represent Co-Pirates. It is a non-profit organization and community aimed to help emerging artists, and mostly we just want to decentralize art scene, kind of. This is like our biggest mission, and we want to give opportunity artists to work from any point in the world. Without any correlation with how close or far they are from cultural centers. And we help with bringing information, making webinars like that, and yeah, mostly information at this moment. So I guess we can skip this part from presentation about me and about Co-Pirates, and I will let you know about guideline, right, how we're going to have it today. So we are going to have like around 40-50 minutes speaking part, and then we'll have time for questions. Maybe less, right? Maybe we'll have more time for questions. It's actually better because then you can ask your questions and to be like more precise, right, with information. So I will round up. Anna, I'll let you speak.
Thank you, Zhenya, for inviting me, and thank you for introduction. And I hope you guys all can see the presentation. Let me know if anything is wrong with that. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to. I guess I need to switch between the windows to make it. Okay, here is actually a page about Evtiugina. Right, this is about our agency. So my name is Anna Ipureland, and I am talking today on behalf of our cultural agency. The agency is called ipureland. It is also a creative studio. We are based in New York, and we have a mission to support cultural organizations, brands, and artists worldwide with all the necessary things, I guess, which is we consult, we help with strategic partnership development and professional programs for professional development. We also produce digital immersive experiences for artists and for other art organizations. And last year, we also launched an affordable track for one visa application specifically for art professionals. And that's why we wanted to share with you today about this opportunity. So here you can see our website. And if you want to follow us, the best thing is probably to follow us is sign up for our Instagram. There is not much on the account because it's more like a business card, but we always post about our announcements, most important, and about some events and new artist opportunities. So you guys, while I'm talking here further about a little bit more about my background, I would like also to learn about you. Can you maybe type in the chat, where are you guys from, connecting today, which country or which city? And also if you are an artist or maybe another kind of art professional, maybe curator or another type of art-related profession. So my professional background is pretty much diverse. I'm a curator and producer, and now already a cultural entrepreneur, because as a founding director of ipureland, I spend most of time designing and curating different fully funded programs for cultural exchange and residencies. And this comes from my love of working with artists and my engagement as a curator and educator in the arts. So I used, and I have experience working with major residences in New York, such as International Student Curatorial Program and Residence Unlimited. Last year I also worked with a exciting new foundation in Mexico, but as a curatorial, on a curatorial path, I also worked with museums like Hermitage Museum of San Jose Museum of Art. I also still support IS plus F Artist Collective and their studio here in New York. And I also did a bunch of exhibitions with Moscow Museum. Not only, but some of them, mostly in Russia. And I used to be a gallery director in Moscow. And I curated shows with Moscow Museum of Modern Art, for example. But right now I'm focused more on educational and exchange programs. So let me see, what did you write? I don't see chat though. How do you get it back? Okay, no, I found it. Okay, I'll see artist curator, Belgrade, Mexico, nice. Argentina, welcome. Katya from Belarus and someone from Spain. Perfect international team here. Wonderful. So, as I told, so because we work on so many different kinds of projects involving artists, we got, and I mean, it is international all the time. So we started getting requests for about one visa, like a talent visa, because of that, I think a few years ago. And then because I had the experience of getting and securing my own O1 visa and then a green card based on this extraordinary ability. So I kind of learned about it a long time ago on my personal experience, through my personal experience. And then, as I said, we started getting requests and like trying to assist our artists that we worked with. And then eventually we came to this program that I'm mentioning, which is, we established a partnership with their legal bureau, so the lawyers who actually agreed to be supportive and offer a lower price point for their services, kind of explain why it's important and how we can, help with this. So that's how our program emerged. But I'm pretty sure that you guys are know something about the visa already, or you read something, and if not, just I don't know, maybe type in chat that you are learn about it first time. I also see someone saying that they expected it to be not in English. Oh no, okay, she meant that she should type in English. Oh, it's fine. But anyway, for those who have trouble with English, maybe I think their co-op team plans to do subtitles later for the recording. And yes, this will be recorded as well for the convenience of those who join later. Yeah, so the talent visa is our informal name for their artist visa to come to the US. Their legal name is extraordinary visa for extraordinary ability specialists, and O1 visa is its formal type, which is used by immigration services and by embassies. So, coming from the name of it, extraordinary ability specialist, I just want to tell you from the get-go that it's not only for artists, right? So it's actually for any kind of specialist in any field. I mean, not in any, but in most, in many fields that could demonstrate that they are extraordinary, talented, or extraordinary skilled, or extraordinary trained, or achieved, certain amount of, high amount of professional results. That is why there are subcategories of this visa, which we will talk about in the next few slides. So just I want to tell you about it because sometimes when you start reading about it and talking even to some lawyers or other people that had some experience, it gets very confusing just because there's different types of subcategories. And actually they have a little bit different criteria and requirements for the evidence. I want to talk today primarily about artist-focused cases, so about artists and how they apply and approach this. So basically, as you can see on this on the image here and this on the presentation, your case, if you apply, you build your case. You need to defend your case, and this case has to show extraordinary ability in the arts, in the field of arts. Could be also curating, right, or maybe even artistic direction and more on producing management side of things. Or we also worked with somebody who is actually mostly focused on public relations in the arts field specifically. And this extraordinary ability, which your case should demonstrate also that it has some acclaim nationally or internationally. Your case also shows your achievements that have been recognized in the field through extensive documentation, and we talk more about it later. And also it shows that you are coming to the US to work in the same area of extraordinary ability. And this is like the ideal plan. Sometimes people come to work in a related field, and this is, I guess, possible too, but then it is a little bit more confusing for the officers that will, approve or disapprove your application, or why you're changing your field, if it's a significant change. I mean, like, for example, a brilliant and famous performer, ballet dancer, comes to teach ballet in the US instead of performing. So this would be not ideal scenario. So ideally you come to do the same thing that you are demonstrating as a specific area of your expertise. So if you guys have any questions on this right now or in this moment, also you feel to type and chat, and I'll try to address them on the call. So again, talking in a formal legal language, this visa, O1 visa, is a non-immigrant visa category. What does this mean? This means that you come to the US temporary to work in your particular field of expertise, and you are not becoming a citizen, or you're not becoming an immigrant. Immigrant visas start, so if you get a green card, then this is already an immigrant visa category. I guess, yeah, the main difference that it is temporary visa, and you can get this visa for up to 3 years, and then you can extend it and for another 3 years, for example, or maybe, and you can actually extend it multiple times. I know some people actually extend it all their life, which is a little weird, but it is possible. So the main subcategories, O1A and O1B, which is formally they are differentiated by the field. So if you go to the formal, documentation about this immigration process, you will find. They will just divide it by the fields, I guess. So the first type, the A, is usually applied to somebody who comes from sciences, like researchers and people from the science and scholars from the university or Academy of Sciences. Then from education or business, or also sports, so athletics, any kind of professional sports. And another type is more relevant for artists or entertainers, or television or theater, all kinds of commercial arts as well. But in reality, this differences, between these two subcategories is actually also not only by the field, but also by the type of employment. The thing is that for the A type of visa, you need a kind of full-time employment in a certain organization. For example, a university that will be employing you full-time, or like as your major employer, and they will actually petition for your visa, and that will be their organization that actually invites you. As well as for business, for example, you have to be invited to work in a certain company or sports. But with the artists or entertain or theater and all kinds of performing professionals, it's different, because you have all kinds of projects or shows that you will be doing with different organizations. And that is the major difference. So you are not employed by one single institution, but you will be able to freelance, right? So you will be able to be employed by multiple organizations for a short term. And this way, this is different how you structure your case because of this as well. Go further. So here on this page, you can see general criteria that kind of cover all subcategories. It's just for all categories together, so to say. Of course, and the first thing you will read about this type of visa that actually scares everyone is that you probably need a Nobel Prize to be able to apply. But if you read in more detail, they actually say that you have to show an international award such as a Nobel Prize or other kinds of evidence, and then there is a list. So basically, if you have a Nobel Prize, you probably don't need to show anything else. But if you don't, then you can actually put together a lot of things that could speak for you and speak for your achievement. And if you ever worked on a large grant applications, or let's say even grants for like your education, or I don't know, PhD or something like this, it's actually probably a similar amount of work in terms of bringing all your past achievements together and like advocating for that for what you want to do further. Anyway, I'm just saying that it is actually maybe more doable than you could think at the first sight. So let's just go through these criteria to have a better understanding, and then you probably have more questions, I'm sure. So any kinds of awards, both national or international, will be a very good thing to show. As well, memberships and associations, professional associations, for example, I don't know, theater guild or film guild for those who work in this field, or association of curators, or any kind of gallery association for a gallerist. This kind of affiliation will be a good thing to show, because it confirms that you are a professional recognized by your colleagues, by your peers. In some cases, you also could show that you are invited as a juror, or as a judge of their works of others in your field, like somebody who selects their artistic work because you are expert in this field as an artist, or as an art critic, or as an art historian, for example. Then having any contributions or any writings that you did for magazines or for scientific journals may be a good thing to add. And then also, so if you wrote scholarly articles, this is one thing to show. But you also could show not only scientific but maybe popular articles. Sometimes they also could be included if they are related to the field of your specific work. Also articles about your work. So when someone publishes it in professional media, like about artistic shows or about your works of art that you created, or about the shows you created. So this is another thing. Yeah, and also for those who were employed in the past in any organizations, cultural art related organizations, you know, I'm narrowing it down for our audience. Then you would be able to show that if you had a leading or critical position, like maybe you were a head of the department, maybe you were a vice president, I don't know, maybe you were a director, even if it's a small organization. But if you had this leading role with a significant, amount of responsibility and impact on the organization's development, this is a good thing to include and show. Also, another part of this would be the how significant and how how important, let's say, the organization is, the organization that you worked with. So, for example, if it's, I don't know, a very large, famous corporation like Apple, then this is like an organization of a distinguished reputation, maybe. Or maybe if it's a museum or any other artistic institution that also is unique in the work they do, even if it's much smaller than Apple, then also it is there is a way to show that it has a distinguished reputation. But then it will depend on how well you could put together the documents that will show it. And another possibility, which is not for every subcategory, but for some, which is a high salary. So if you, I don't know, sell your artistic work, like your artworks, for a high price, this is generally, then could be also some evidence from that. Or if you also got had a high salary compared to others in your field of the same role, this could be a point as well, which is a little hard for the cultural field because in every country, not only it is usually lower salary rate level than in other industries. Yeah, because you should think that the officers that will look at it, they are having information about all kinds of fields, not only arts. And compared to business, for example, salaries in the arts fields are not so high. That's why this is like you should be really thorough of showing things like that in terms of comparing with a certain group. And like usually lawyers are really good and helping how to make the case readable and how to make it the officer interpreted in a very in the right way. Yeah, so and here actually I just made a screenshot from the website, so you can see that's the supporting documentation that they ask for, and you don't have to have everything. Again, it's like you need to meet at least 3 criteria that are expected, and usually you focus on this, on the most, on these 3 or more. Of course, the more the better, but generally yeah, so you can see that for just, I probably won't read it all, you can read by yourself, but what they want to see is not just that you have performed had a lead or starring participation, but that also the events that you were part of have a distinguished reputation. They had some reviews. For example, if you participate in a show in a museum, that you had this reviews about this show as well, not only about your work, but also about the event or the institution that hosted it. Yeah, so I see there is a question from Anastasia. Do you want to say it loud?
it will be easier if I can. Do you hear me?
Sure. Yes, we can hear
Ah,
you.
good, good. Thank you for the meeting. It's super generous from you that you share your experience. And the question is about the previous slide. Do you know if there is any, let's say, expire date of your achievements? Like, for example, if I used to work for such a huge museum, but it was, I don't know, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, before the date that I applied, and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, like that was maybe big, but now not so visible. Do they look at the relevance of achievements?
Oh,
That's the question.
it's actually even better than it was when it was um, kind of long time ago, as well as recently. So there is no like expired, documents that could be expired or something, because it actually proves that you have been working in the field for a long time, and not just recently graduated, because this is not something they will like. They don't really like recent students because it's not appropriate generally. It's kind of logical thing. So they want to see people that are experienced in their field, they're experts, right? So that's why if you worked even 10 years ago in a large museum, you should definitely include this.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I will also ask related questions because you just mentioned about recent graduate, but it quite often happens that we have artists who switch career. Let's say they started from something else and then they went to art. And if it happens that someone has an experience but still recently graduate, is it like anyhow?
No. Well, if you recently graded, but you worked before that for 10 years in your field, of course, this is okay. But if you just finished school and graduated, like being 18 years old, this is not probably a good case to work
And
with.
what is the good gap between being graduated and application?
Well, I don't think there is like a particular gap, because if you get your second or third education, this doesn't really. But if you've been working in the field before, for example, I applied for my visa after I graduated in the U.S. from the US university, but it was already my second or third education, so it's not really. That hasn't had much impact in this case. But I've been working in my field since 2010, right? So, the thing is that why it is not easy to kind of understand in one sitting, so to say, because it is a lot of flexibility on one hand, but also it's a lot of variety because of what exactly you put together and how they balance, how these 3, 4, 5 things you want to stress on as your achievement will complement each other, and how they will advocate for your case. And this is what is difficult to figure out without experience. That's why I'm not sure how other visas like in France or UK go. Maybe they are more straightforward in terms of how you make it and how to achieve the result. But here, you never know how exactly. There's like no one formula. It's always different, and that's why we work with a legal bureau, legal team who have 40 years of experience and a lot of experience working with artists in particular. And we also add our expertise to that, right? Because we know very well how the field is structured, what is significant, what is less significant, because some lawyers, many, have really problem with that. And that's why I think we have a great opportunity, because on one side, it's really hard to navigate by yourself, because if you never did it, you don't know how exactly things should be balanced in how they will be interpreted by the officer of USCIS, the Immigration Service. That's why it is always very individual, you know, how you put together a case. But there is like a principle I can tell you about. Let's see what we have at yeah, stages. Yeah, so the principle, I guess, is that when we work with someone, we figure out what is this narrow area of expertise within your field that you are most known for, or that you have most achievements with in. So it's like the narrowing down your field of expertise is one task, I guess. In this case, it's easier to show that you had this significant achievement because this field is narrowed down, right? Another principle is, it's like also this legal term, totality of evidence. So basically, even if you have 3, you know, evident like points of 4 and 5, it doesn't mean necessarily they will approve it, because they can tell it's not enough, or you give us more information, or we don't accept it, right? So that's why this totality means that every piece of evidence you have, they kind of have to work together to complement each other. They can't really say about different things, right? And this is also tricky because we know that some artists also have curatorial practice, or some, you know, or maybe they have work as producers or managers. So how do you combine working in a little bit different roles? This is this takes time to figure out, but it is also possible to include, either choose one role that is the most that you have the most achievements in, or you can combine things too, but then you kind of really be smart about how you do this. So that you should do it so they don't you know, what's the word, so they work together and not, you know, not against each other. So there's different parts of your work. Yeah. So, and if we speak further about the stages, the collection, so we start with collecting documents, and this is a part that you also can work on your own, but we also provide our guidance to say, okay, how exactly you can think about it, what documents in your particular case are best as evidence. And then processing an application submission can take as less as 3 weeks, because our partners, they really work very quickly. But also it can take longer if they, I don't know, if it depends more on you and your participation. If they ask for some documents and you are not able to give them quickly to provide it with this, then it can take longer. But generally from 3 weeks, that's what we see. And then once you applied, it can take from 3 weeks to several months. It depends on the workload and there's immigration services, and it changes every other month. So it's kind of a good idea to check before applying what is the situation now. And if you apply and most recent cases were approved quickly, your case probably will be reviewed quickly as well. Also, you have an opportunity to accelerate a process, and then they will be obligated to respond in 2 weeks, in case you actually need it very quickly and can't wait. This is a way, but then they ask additional fee for this acceleration, which is pretty high. And as I said, so that in some cases they also ask for additional evidence, which is normal and very often. So because they just want to, they have some questions and they just ask certain things, and then you just provide them with an answer, and then they usually are satisfied. Yeah, so I see a question about artists with a lot of shows but not commercial success. This is a completely, these are two different things, right? So you don't have to have both. So you can stress on your significant contribution as an artist who has a lot of solo shows and a lot of invitations to group shows or curated projects. And not necessarily an artist who's selling work. On the other side, if someone actually has a lot of sales because they had a gallery or because their work is of that type that, you know, for whatever reason, if you can show this could be another strategy, right? So you can, maybe you have no museum shows, right? But you have sold your work for, I don't know, several $1,000s, and then it, you know, and if you can show that, and like not one time but multiple times, so then it could be a very good way to signify your achievement. So you see, it could be different aspects of your work that you could stress on, and that's why you need to prioritize how to approach it. So, any other questions?
I guess I would ask one. How much evidence do we need to show in each of these criteria? Let's say if I have a word and good one, but only one, or if I have solo shows, but like 10 of them. What is the amount of evidence that I need to show in each criteria?
Well, it varies also because of other criteria. So like it should be kind of be weighted not only one criteria, but you will look at how all 3 or 4 or 5, you know, like contribute to that. And I think one solo show wouldn't be enough for sure, but like several, like 10 or more. I mean, not necessarily a solo show, but any, like, you know, a number of exhibitions. I don't think they really, well, I think for the officers, probably both solo and group shows are more or less similar. But of course, maybe they can think about a solo show as a more as a bigger thing, right? But generally, if it's a very good group show and a museum or like a biennial or whatever, and we can, you know, we will explain it, like it will be explained in the letter and the application why this and that show is important, why this and that institution is important. It will be counted in the same way, right? So it's not only about solo or group, or like maybe it's also presentation and like any speaking engagement you had as an artist, maybe artist talks, or also teaching is usually a good thing to show as an art, you know, even if it's occasionally, like, but if they see that you're invited to educate others, this means that you are an expert, basically, and you can share your experience with others. That is why, you know, everyone says the more the better. So I guess the approach for you to start, if you guys are really interested, is just to start putting it all together in one folder, just to collecting everything you ever have. Maybe there is a poster about the thing you did, because not all things stay online, for example. Maybe, especially if it's all, you know, 10 years ago or something. I was like, when I was researching, I was, oh, I found something from 2012. I mean, is it still there? It's like small note, like already like half of it. Not all even, you know, news media are living for so long. So you should really think about just saving your documentation about any shows or any events you participate for your future, you know, like for your just personal archive. And then it will be much easier for you also to do this kind of applications, and then maybe reapplications if, you know, if you want to extend it, for example. And, you know, also if you start working with a gallery, that could be actually really a good thing to have. Right. So there's a question about from Irina about an invitation from an employer. Yes, this is right. So you need to show that you will be able to work in your field. In this, how do we show this? We show this by actually showing a letter that offers you some engagement or a job. So it could be a job offer for full time. It could be for part time. It could be for participation in a project. It could be for participation in a show or in a residency, or maybe that a gallery says that I would like to work with this artist, and we plan a show maybe in the next 2 years. But then also we just work with the artist, and like they represent the artist and sell their work. So these kind of things are necessary. But also there is a different way how to do this. So in our program, so basically what we also wanted to support artists with is that we act as a petitioner, so someone who actually applies on your behalf. So we are, as an agency, apply on the behalf of the artist, and basically we request the immigration services to grant visa for you, like to review your case. We say that you are the talent they need to approve for this certain type of work that you will be doing. In some cases, we also can say that you will be working with us, with our agency. And that in this case, you will have at least one job offer from, that will be affiliated with our projects, potentially. Yeah. So it is on case by case basis, but we try to do that when possible, when there is a, intersection of what we do and what you do, and when we can see it. But also many artists we work with or art professionals, some have other job offers, or some have a letter from a gallery. Some have residencies that they were invited to. Some have universities that they invite them to teach, maybe part-time, maybe short-term, it doesn't matter, but it is also a good additional job offers that is often in place and work well.
Well, no, we also had a question from Nelia about rejected application. It's upper than Irina's question.
Yeah. So if your case is rejected, you'll get a notification. So, I mean, the lawyer's office receive it, and we receive a copy. If yes, you can wait and get more evidence, or like more projects created, or shows or whatever, and then you can reapply. But what is recommended is that you reapply when you can show at least enough of different things, not the same thing. So you can't really reapply with the same thing, right? So you need to add more things or different things for your application. Well, in our experience, rejections are very rare. I mean, we usually even don't start working on someone's case if we don't see it as a successful one. So, also lawyers, or like, this is bad for lawyers' reputation, basically, to have rejection. So they don't really take on cases that are weak. Usually the first screening we have with anyone is that we actually assess how doable it is. If it's like 90% of success, we start working on that. A question about documentation. How do I save documentation bar from the articles, or someone writing about me? Is it a screenshot or something else? Yes, it could be a screenshot. It could be well, it's very good when you have you can have also, it's online, yeah, when they can also provide it with a link, because they may go and check, right? And it's kind of usually when you put it all together, you kind of have it, all of it. Usually it is a screenshot or a copy of this website. If it's something online, you have a link and you have a translation. In case it was in Russian, for example, or in any other language, you have a translation into English. So you also can add something about this magazine or publication or who published. Like that is maybe that's the most important professional art magazine, for example. So this could be added, for example, too. Yeah, that should be enough. It also could be a PDF. It could be just a picture of if it's a physical magazine, could be photographs of that. Just readable. It has to be readable. Yeah. So anyway, what is good also to know is that you can bring your family with you having your visa. So it could be your partner, or also your children. The only issue here is that your partner wouldn't be able to have permission to work. So with O1 visa, you don't need to do anything specifically for your partner. It's kind of automatic. If you just include it in the application, they will automatically get their visa too. But their visa will be O2, not O1. And O2 meaning, or like O3 actually. And this means that they can support you, like be with you, go with you, travel with you, but they are not able to be employed in the US. But they also can go study, for example, if they're planning to go to the university, that is totally fine. And they also can change their status later. Let's say they come with you first, and then in some time when they maybe know what they will do better, then they can change their status. So I guess there's another question about employment. Irina, will you want to, speak about your question aloud? Because I think we already talked about it, but you maybe have more specific question that I don't understand. And what is benefit offer? I'm not sure. Or maybe rephrase your question then. So you do need a job letter. So here is the thing: you these letters that the institutions that will write letters to you, they could be different, and it depends on their, I guess, specific field. I'm not sure how exactly the industrial designers frame their job offers, but we should look closer at this maybe. So usually when we start working, we have our first initial consultation when we kind of focus on your specific case and review it and assess how ready it is to go and apply, or maybe you need more time to work on specific things to get more evidence before you apply. Also, another good thing to know is that if you come to the US on a tourist visa first, you also can apply to O1 being already in the US on a tourist visa. And this actually can extend your stay legally. Once you applied, you can stay longer, even without approval yet, but you will be illegal to stay until the approval, or maybe there will be rejection, but until that you are legally to stay, but it could take several months, as I said. So, but we don't really see rejections. That's it. We usually see requests for additional documentation pretty regularly, and then the approvals after that. Okay, I see more people joining. So
yeah,
guys,
I guess I will add here that we will have all of this webinar recorded, and you can see it in our YouTube channel. You can find it in our platform. or just by co-parts. And then you will have this webinar with Russian subtitles and with English subtitles, and you can switch subtitles there, you know. There in YouTube, just
Right. So
yeah.
I have a question to you all who are online. Could you please write in chat if you actually want to apply for this kind of visa? I mean, if you are really thinking about that, if you kind of want to go to the US, if you have reasons to go, right? So, and also if you want it just for yourself or also for your family. So I'm just, and yeah, while you're writing, maybe typing, I want to say that about their price for that. So we are really worked hard on making this lower, and you know the prices that usage charges also are changing and rising every year. Well, not every, but every other year maybe. So the legal fee for the case preparation is around 4,500 to 5,000, depending on how complicated the case is. Well, we always do our best to make it on the lower side, I'm saying. And actually, we decided for the group that is here, if you who are present here today will write to us and say that you were in the webinar, you want to apply, we will also we would like to make a gift and offer you additional discount or like gift discount for another $250, because we just really want more artists to have opportunity to apply. And along with this, there will be additional administration fee for the immigration services, and this will depend on who exactly will be petitioning on your side. So if we are petitioning, right, as an agent or an artist agent, so to say, we are small business, so it will be $830. If you have an invitation and can arrange it with somebody else, like a nonprofit organization, this will be actually lower, so 500. And then in any other cases, if it's like a large corporation, this is 1,600. But you know, when you're employed by a large corporation, they usually pay for it themselves, so it's actually easier. Yeah, so I know maybe it looks a lot, but actually, if you compare with the UK visa, I was calculating once, it is the same when you go to the end, to kind of if you kind of calculate all together, because in the UK you need also to pay for insurance, for example, for 2 years, and this adds a lot of cost. But here you don't have these requirements at all, and you actually, as soon as you get the visa, you actually can get a free insurance, and it will cover you everything. All your medical expenses here for free, even if you get pregnant and want to give, you know, a baby birth, this also will be covered by free insurance. And I'll tell more about that once you work. So yeah, that's why also just for you to know, usually most lawyers that work on this type of visa, they charge $7,000 to $10,000 in average, could be more, you know, especially those who work with star actors or like those in California. You never want to look for a lawyer in California, I'm telling you, they charge much more. But what we do is that we try, you know, as much as, you know, we got it lower, and we try to keep it that way. And also, in addition to just regular support from lawyers, we do all kinds of this advising and preparation, and that's why the lawyers have less work. That's why they agreed, you know, to have this low price point. And yeah, and because we usually have a very qualified candidates, I guess, and that's why also it's easier to file when it's a good case. And you know, just to cheer you up as well, for artists, I think it's as much easier to show that you are a unique expert and a significant contributor to the art world for an artist, you know, versus somebody who, I don't know, is a blogger or works in medicine or, I don't know, somewhere else. So there's like more scientific proof, because here a lot of work is original, you know, and a lot of institutions are unique. So this is like actually makes it a little more flexible. And when you know how to do it, like you actually can prove it with less, I guess, with less effort. So someone is writing that is choosing between UK and US. Okay, we can talk about the difference a little bit. Somebody's thinking seriously but need some time. Yes, may have an individual consultation. Yes, you can. Just write. I will type my email so you can write to me, and we can find a time.
Can I also ask here about, because we are still here on finance, if there is any additional things that the one needs to pay if there is a dependent people? Let's say if someone is applying with a family.
Well, usually I think no, but I can double check. I think there is an additional cost if you do a green card with not just for you but for your family. It is so just also to let you guys know that if you have a very strong case, your portfolio, all the articles, all the letters. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the letters. You also can have inside your case, you always apply with several recommendation letters or endorsement letters from other experts from your field, and this is a big part of this proof and evidence. Anyway, if you have this all together, and if it's a very strong case, you also can apply directly to green card instead of, you can skip this part of a visa, which is a temporary 3-year visa, and you can apply for a green card with the same portfolio. It's just that usually they're a little more strict on evaluation it, and from just experience and from the practice, it is always usually kind of easier to get green card approval after you had already O1 visa before, at least one, for 3 years, and then you apply for a green card. But it's not necessarily. So I know cases when they applied directly for green card and it was approved, but we can talk about an individual and see how strong and how ready the case is for that. But also another consideration is actually if you are ready to move to the US and live here, because with your visa, which is a temporary visa for 3 years, but you can stay here in the US how much you want during the year. You can stay 1 month, you can stay 12 months of the year. So, but you can, if you just want to try it out and see if it's for you, you better go with a visa to see how you like it. Because if you because with this visa, like unlike the UK talent visa, if you get a UK talent visa, you have to be present in the UK for 6 months of the year. And this is actually can be difficult for some because it is a high cost of living. But and also in the UK, you don't have to have a job offer, right, to come to the UK and get this talent visa. So some artists I know, they come, they look for opportunities there, which is many, but it could be a little challenging in the beginning to settle because you have a lot of costs of living, but not income yet. In the US, it is different. So with this visa that you have, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. You can come multiple times. You can just, maybe some artists actually get it because they travel frequently. So they just, and because they work and have an income here, and they need to have legal ability to get income and to pay taxes if necessary. But it's not actually always necessary to pay taxes if you are not living in the US most of the year. So it's another question again, but I can talk more about it if you're interested. So yeah, but if you are sure you want to move to the US and you know how you would support you here, then you can go with a green card and and then after you get a green card, you have to be here at least 6 months of the year, but other 6 months you can spend it somewhere else. Yeah, and you can get a free insurance, health insurance. Okay, yeah, it's a very interesting. So the question about the letters don't have to be from the US experts. It could be from any other country, but it's just usually someone who knows your work well, who used to collaborate with you, or maybe employ you, or maybe just is a colleague, but maybe it's a star artist who can write about you. This is like my good friend, and he's also talented in all kinds of ways, right? And because the other person that has a lot of achievement of their own, and usually the letter is structured in the way that it includes also all the credentials of the recommender. So they say, maybe it's a director of a museum, and they say, okay, this is person, he's a director of the museum, he's on board of that and this institutions for 10 over years, he has, I don't know, and something incredible. And then this person writes for your like advocates for you, writes for how important your work is and how unique it is and how talented you are. So you actually get into this 2% of the best extraordinary people of your field, right? That's kind of the goal. But this letter can come from any country. It makes no difference if it's US or non-US. So
there is also one question from Irina here about industrial designer, that she can't apply actually for a talent visa in UK as a commercial industrial designer, and she has to switch whole case to non-commercial one. And she's asking if she can apply to US as industrial commercial designer, not non-commercial, but commercial one.
Oh, so you mean that the UK doesn't have this kind of opportunity for commercial designers? That's why she has to switch. Got it. Yes, US invites commercial designers because US is all about capitalism, So basically, if you can claim that you are a very successful commercial designer and you can work as a commercial designer here, this is what you just show, and you make your case this way. This is completely possible. Exactly. And I can show your contracts with of your previous jobs. For example, if you are not just an artist, but if you worked in a little bit different field, like where you had contracts, or maybe also artists can have contracts to show this with their, engagements. In some cases, if you had grants that show that you got this grant, because it's also selection, merit-based. If you had, I don't know, invoice for purchasing your services or works for like some, then you can sometimes include it if you want to showcase that you are also successful in terms of honorariums for your service or your work as an artist. Right, so the Lexus Award, great. It's a very good evidence. And because it's, they picked me out of 6 people around the world. Yeah. So if there is a selection process, you can, we will talk about it in an application, then this was a serious selection process with this and with so many experts that were selecting committee, and then there was, I don't know, 300,000 applicants, and this person was only selected. Only 6 were selected out of 300, out of 1,000, and you are among them. This is like a way to think about it. Yeah. So it will be very good, and Lexus is probably internationally known. It's an international brand, so you can also use this for your advantage, right? You can say, okay, this is like a major company. They have a very an award which is unique for designers. There's only 3 like this in the world, or maybe there is only 1 like this in the world, and then you also can kind of build on that. Yeah. So let's see. Do we have any more slides? Probably not. Yeah, I guess here is our contact information for those who haven't been able to copy it. Again, we try to post everything important. So if you if you follow us on Instagram, there is a website link, so it's easy to find it. But in addition, we have here a website as well with, you can find on our website some residency programs we realized we created in the past. And then there is nothing open as an opportunity at the moment, but we are working on new residencies and new opportunities for artists, which come a little later. But also, if you sign up for the newsletter, you can learn about that. Yeah, so please let me know if there is any other questions.
Yeah, I guess we will wait for some questions, and I will also have some short speech. So first of all, thank you for all of the information and for clarification of all of this, because it is actually kind of confusing, because all of these talent visas are different, requirements are different, and the way how government sees it and how they decide what actually is a talent, whom actually they can call talent. It's different with, like, let's say for UK, right? It's more strict kind of application, and here I can see it's more like flexible, and the way how you will turn your case, right? The way how you will perform, and how will you present yourself and all of your achievements. And I can also say that we are going to have a webinar about French talent visa on 27th of April. And then we will have the Netherlands talent visa, which is really specific. And it is like for, let's say, not for everybody, but it is something also to discuss about. Oh, yes, and Anastasia is asking about the taxes situation.
Yeah. So, and Irina asks about an appointment. Well, I think it's actually better to have an initial consultation before you put it together completely, because you will have more kind of, I guess more a better idea. But it's up to you. You can reach out to me anytime when you think you're ready to talk about it. Yeah, so talking about taxes, the thing is that there is such an term that is called fiscal resident, so it means that if you spend in the US more than 6 months a year, you become a fiscal resident, meaning that you have to pay taxes. But also, I think it happens maybe on the 2nd year only. So before that, if you live mostly in another country and just come here for shows or events or any conferences, and even if you have income, you actually don't have to pay anything, because you pay the taxes in your country of fiscal residency. But once you spend here more than 6 months regularly, then you start paying taxes. Also, you don't pay taxes until you earn more than $10,000. So if you earned less than $10,000, you don't owe to pay taxes. So only if you earn more. Yeah, I guess this is the main things. but I think as soon as you get green card, that's why they also require you to be here 6 months, because you're supposed to be a fiscal resident and pay taxes. And as soon as you get a green card, you will have to pay taxes even if you live and have income in a different country. So you kind of have to pay for both. I think that's kind of the issue with the US. And also with the UK, by the way. So UK asks you to pay taxes even if you have income in other countries. And it starts on the first day. As soon as you get to the UK, you become a fiscal, with a talent visa, you become a fiscal resident. And if you, let's say you have income in another country, and you can't even use it because, anyway, if you even don't use it, but if you have income and if they ask you to declare it, and you have to pay taxes from any international income. Is there a possibility to apply directly for green card talents or just after visa talents? So yes, as I told, yes, there is a possibility to apply directly for a green card. If you are sure that you want to go to the US and stay here at least for 6 months, and then, yeah, and if your case is strong enough, we can assess it before you apply. So you make sure for that. But also the cost for application will be a little higher for green card. But another benefit is that if you bring your partner, your husband or your wife, will also automatically get a green card with you, and this will allow them to work as well as you. So you both will be, so that's why it is actually maybe better for someone, if you both want to come and work here, then green card is more cost efficient, because you will both get visa, you will both get a permission for work. But only one of you have to show that you have extraordinary ability, but both will be granted for work. Yeah, and as I said, if you guys write to me soon, we really have this kind of test mode with the lawyers we can make it even a little less for you in terms of costs, at least in this nearest future. So we can offer you at least $250 less, like a discount, a gift, or whatever, just because we have this kind of arrangement with the lawyers for some time. And if it works well, we'd maybe keep it. So we'll see. I think we can wrap up here, and thank you very much for having me, for inviting, for organizing all this series. I think it's very, very visionary. It's very necessary, and yeah, and we like seeing that other groups and organizations also have this important work of supporting artists and art professionals like we do. So it's great to see you're not alone.
Yes, thank you. Thank you also for joining us, and thank you for agreeing to share all of this necessary information. And also additional thanks for that you provide this gift and discount, $250 for our webinar participants. I guess it is something important in case if someone is actually thinking about it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, we will have all of your contacts also on our website, so you can always find them in the section of experts at Coalparts platform. And then you can also find the link in YouTube and like in Instagram, I guess everywhere. So yeah, thank you all for participating.
Yeah,
for coming today.
I see 2 more questions that we didn't see, last minute questions, so maybe I can talk about it really quickly. So Irina asked if I can extend my visa. Yes, you can. Every 3 years, you actually can extend your visa for another 3 years. And you can make it multiple times. without getting citizenship or without getting your green card. You don't have to. You can just have this kind of visa for for very many years, basically. And another question was about, do employer have to pay taxes if hiring me? Yes, of course. They will have to pay taxes as anyone else. It's just that it's a automatic process and you don't need to worry about that. And every employer is like aware of that, and they include these taxes inside your payment planning, I guess. So it gets pretty much automatically. But if they are a non-profit, it may be different for them again, right? So non-profits don't pay taxes, but you don't need to worry about that so much. And if you come to a consultation, I can tell you, more about how to look for job offers, or how exactly you can put this kind of how they can write this letter. And in some cases you can apply with one job offer, but it may change actually once you come here. It could be a different job, so it doesn't have to be strictly the same that you applied with, just because before you get your visa, nobody can have this nobody can expect you to come for a job. So it's kind of a little bit provisionary, right? So when somebody offers you a job, they will always think, okay, we can have you work with us after you get your visa, if you get your visa, right? They wouldn't expect you 100% to come. And and sometimes when it takes maybe a bit longer, this job offer can maybe go away, but anyway you can get another one. And this is actually okay, because if it's in the same field and you come here and work as in your field, this is actually because you have this freelance visa, again, the O1B type of visa. You can work with multiple organizations. You can change these organizations, even if you applied with different ones, for example. But if you get the other type of visa, which is O1A, then it's different. But if you apply as an artist or art professional who plans to work as a freelance, basically, like for different organizations, this is more flexible here with job offers. And I can talk about this individually because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Yeah. Okay, that was all. Thank you again, and see you later.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye everyone.